Hello, welcome to the third live stream from Underpin Change and Growth Consultants. What we're going to be doing today is having a bit of a deep dive into more of the philosophy of business. We're going to start our journey all the way back in ancient Greece and try and work out how the philosophy of Stoicism can help you and your business. And this isn't all going to be fusty marble and ancient texts. We're going to hopefully try and get into a little bit of how you can change your philosophy in business and mindset using these kind of philosophical ideas that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. So, to begin, as always, very quick rundown of who I am. My name's Lewis English. I'm the founder and lead consultant at Underpin Consultants. We have 17 years of experience in marketing and business. And my core values are to be curious about the world, to try and understand why people feel differently about different things, and not try and be the only person with a good idea in the room. I believe in equity, which means providing people with what they specifically need to succeed. Trying not to use broad brushes whenever we can, and to promote positive change. So not about negativity, not about trying to kind of push people down to get ahead. What we try and do is work with people and organizations to deliver real change in a way that is long lasting and benefits everybody in society. So, Stoicism was founded in 300 BC in Athens, and actually Stoic comes from the Greek word for painted porch, which, if you can imagine, people in ancient Greek clothes and togas was where Zeno taught his followers. So, what am I talking about? Why am I talking to you about Stoicism? Well, Stoicism is something that I'm deeply passionate about. Which is quite interesting because a lot of people think you can't be passionate about Stoicism, but we're going to go through that. It's a philosophy, it's a way of living your life, it's a way of viewing the world. And for today, it's going to be a way of viewing your business and viewing how you can get more out of your business by thinking a little bit more objectively about it and seeing it in the real world rather than your own views. So, Stoicism is a philosophy that's focused on developing inner resilience. So that's being able to kind of understand and deal with pressure and stress and anxiety and whatever that kind of negative would be, to deal with the kind of harshness of the world in a way that is rational and has self-control, to handle life's challenges calmly. Now, a lot of people will say without emotion, and that's not true. We'll go into that. When you're talking about your business, you do need to be emotional about it, but you also need to be able to see it from a lot of different perspectives. So its core principle is that you cannot control the world, you cannot control your entire industry, you cannot control everything, even down to a level of you cannot control your staff. Micromanagement is not something that's very helpful within business. And actually, focusing your energy only on what you can influence is a really positive way to look at your business and see how you can develop a way of putting your energy where it's going to be best used. It's about taking personal responsibility. It's about not relying on the outside forces to provide success or happiness or whatever it is you want your business to do. It's not from external circumstances. It's about being disciplined. It's about understanding your goals, your missions, your values, your objectives, and working on them. So, for example, rather than worrying, if we take an example of Apple. So Apple rarely care or worry about what other people in the industry are doing. They have their principles, they know they're good at what they do. And so rather than focusing on battling Samsung or Huawei or whoever it might be, they focus on creating the next thing. Now, that's great because you then get really unique, independent things like the iPad and the iPod and the iPhone. And what's happening recently with Apple is they are kind of looking towards other people and replicating that. So if you look at the Vision Pro is a reaction from external circumstances. Everybody is doing VR, so we need to do VR too. And that's why I think potentially it's not been as successful as the iPad, where people are copying the iPad, they're copying other people. And in fact, if they had the mental discipline to develop their own products and their own systems, that might be a better way of dealing with business. It's also about living life according to wisdom, justice, courage, and so it's about being good and doing good. So it's about living your life in the ways that not reacting to individual situations, but having a set of values for your business that you can then go. And this is what we talked about in the last live stream, which was all about saying no and yes at the right times, is if you go into a situation and you know what your red lines are, you know what your values are, you know what your mission is, that makes your decisions really easy to make because you're not reacting to what's happening right now. You've thought about this before and you want to make that decision based on the values of your business. So, what isn't Stoicism? It's not about suppressing emotions. It's not about being a Vulcan. It's not about being emotionless. It's about learning to understand your emotions. You actually really need to be if you're stressed about work or you're stressed about running your business or you're angry because a customer has said something, understand why you feel that way, understand why they feel that way, do the research, ask the questions, be open to feedback, and understand that the only way you're going to solve this problem, if you're stressed or you're upset or you've got a complaint, is to understand the emotions, but learn and understand and manage them, and then choose your response to that customer, to that challenge, to your own feelings about your business that align with the values and the missions that you've already set out. So, first misunderstanding is always that it's cold and emotionless. But as we've just said, the only way you can react correctly to emotions is to really understand them and to make sure that they are the right response. That means taking your time. It means not being knee jerk. It means not about pushing a quick solution. It's about sometimes sitting there with this challenge, with your business problem, and just thinking about it and just being objective about it, asking other people, getting people involved. That's what it's about. So that's the first misunderstanding. It's about being emotionally aware of your business and what challenges you're facing with it. The second one is not responding. So a lot of people think that to be stoic is to have this grim face and to, no matter what is happening, people could be throwing tomatoes at you, people could be telling you your business is awful, putting in bad reviews, the production line might have sort of, and what a person would think a stoic would do is just sit there and be, not be kind of responding. And actually, with a business, what you need to be is you do need to be objective. So you need to look at the emotions and then you need to make decisions based not just on those emotions, but your values as well. But it's understanding what you can and cannot change and then working towards the things you can change and kind of setting aside the things you can't. For example, during COVID is something that you cannot control. A lot of people will worry about it, and rightly so. But from a business perspective, your efforts are, rather than worrying about what COVID is going to do, your best option is to focus on what you can change, what you can do differently, how you can get involved in the actual delivery of what it is you're trying to do. Misunderstanding 3 is it's about rejecting any kind of emotion, good or bad. Revel in the good times, feel bad about the bad times, but at some point with your business, you need to come up with a plan, about how to get out of your situation. If you've got a cash flow problem, how are we getting out there? Let's put some forecasting in. We've got not enough leads coming in. How are we going to do that? We've got too many leads coming in. Be happy about that. Enjoy that. But at the same time, be constantly looking from the outside perspective to look at what you can and can't change and deliver how you can create a system where you understand what's your priority. And then the last one is that it's seen as a tool for achieving success. So if you do all of this, it's going to be successful, but it's not. It's a way of saying, I've defined who I am. These are my values. I accept the emotions that are coming in. I look at them. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I'm right to be stressed. This is a stressful situation. But the way I get out of this is not by shouting and screaming or getting upset. True leadership is bringing everybody together, putting together a plan collectively, and then moving on with that plan. And actually, that's so much better than just, losing your mind, losing your marbles. But you get to decide what that success is. Fulfilling virtuous life regardless of external success. So you get to define what success is for you. And if you're in a business with lots of people, you collectively decide what success is, and you all work together to live that. And in modern times, that's known as creating a culture. And a culture is based on good values, on understanding what you can and can't control, and therefore culture, which is seen as this big, passionate thing that everybody's going to do, has its basis in Stoicism. So let's go through some of the great Stoic quotes that have been generated during the classical period, and let's try and apply them using specific examples from either my business or generically within people that I've worked with to see how we can apply these philosophical ideas to our own business. So, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This is a quote from Seneca, who is one of the kind of big three Stoic philosophers. I always, and it's really frustrating. So one of the great quotes that I use all the time, even though I'm not a huge fan of Harry Potter, is from Newt Scamander. And he says, people who worry suffer twice. Once while you're worrying, and then if it does happen in the future, once it happens again. So you suffer twice. Suffering in business is something that happens every day, all of the time, on different levels. And just going through that constant feedback loop of everything is terrible, I don't know how to get out of this. Everything is terrible, I don't know how to get out of this. Happens in business all the time, okay? It can happen on a really small level, it can happen on a really big level. But actually, what's much better is I'm going to take some time, okay? And I'm going to suffer, okay? And I'm going to make sure that it's imagined, okay? So I'm going to suffer. I'm going to think of the worst possible things that are going to happen. I'm going to think about how terrible everything is going, and it's going to be, and I'm going to set myself a timer, okay? So I can suffer for a fixed period of time. But once that timer ends, once I'm done suffering, I am going to suffer no more. And I'm going to put in a collective plan for my business that will decide how I move forward. Because if you are suffering and you're worrying and you're anxious, you're not doing anything positive. And what Stoicism says is understand what suffering is, but don't do it constantly. It's because, A, it's probably not going to be real in the way that you see it. We're very good at working out what the worst case scenario is. So if we can get the best case scenario and what's the worst that could happen, what's the best that could happen, let's write it all down. Let's look at all of those options and let's plan how we get out of that. The next time we come to suffer through our business, cash flow, forecasting, we lost a big bid, we won a big bid, and now we don't know how to do it. We know that we have a good strategy and a good plan and a good set of ethics and philosophies that say, yes, let's think about it. Let's write it all down, but let's not do it so that we suffer. Let's do it so that we know. So we know all the different options that we have available to us, and we know what the best one is because we've thought about it all. And what you've done there is you've switched suffering to strategy. Because what strategy is thinking about all the outcomes passively without getting too involved emotionally. So, I feel terrible about this, but this is how we're going to move forward. An objective assessment of the situation, and then a plan to move forward. That is converted using these principles from a place where you are suffering to a place where you are strategizing. And that is a way to deliver genuine, regular business success. So, it's not what happens to you, but it's how you react to it that matters. Having an assessment of what it is that you feel bad about. Let's take an example. So, I regularly deliver talks. And I used to get quite nervous about delivering talks. Sometimes, strangely, the more people in the room, the less anxious I would be. And actually, people would say that the standard things that people say, which is picture people naked, terrible idea, look at the back of the room, or engage with a single person. And these are all really good. But actually, what's useful is to say, what is the best possible way that I can deliver success in this particular situation? How can I put myself in a mindset where I can say, my job here is to educate. My job here is to present. My job here is to do my best. Rather than worrying about what other people are thinking about me and what it is, if I do that, I'm focusing on things that people don't understand, or that I can't understand, or that I can't change. And so I can't do any of that. What I need to do is turn around and say, I'm going to give my best shot. I'm going to assume that this is going to work. Okay. I do this a lot. I say this a lot to businesses. What would you do if you could not fail? If you had a magic ring of luck or a potion that you could drink that made sure that everything worked all of the time, what would you do? And let's work out how we safeguard that on it. That's us reacting to a situation. It's not being, that's not waiting for the problem to come to us. It's about us attacking the problem. And when it came to doing public things, for me, it's not about learning. How I react to things is understanding the subject and then talking on that subject. So how I react to it is, I need to do a presentation. I'm going to learn everything I can about it. But when I do it, I'm not going to worry about other people because I can't change their minds. I can only change their minds by doing a good job. So my job is, and the only thing that I can change is to do my job. And that is to deliver a good performance or a good piece of information that they can use in the future. This is a huge one. This is an absolute huge one. This is basically entirely the majority of the work I do with businesses. When you're in marketing, you should not explain why you're good at something. You should show people. To turn around, and I always use this as honesty. So one of the key values that people always write down when we do these brand workshops is, we are honest. Great. But that's you saying, I am honest. And actually, even the most lying, devious, horrible human in history, if you asked them, would say, I'm honest, because that helps them. Just merely saying it is not marketing. What you need to do is you need to embody that. How do you do that? Well, you have good values, you have a good mission, you are honest with your customers, you value yourself, you value other people, you have reviews that say other people will turn around and say, this person is very good at their business. I really enjoyed working with them. They said exactly what I was going to do. And the reason they say that is because you did a good job. That's embodying your business. That's embodying your values. And if you do that regularly, if you have values and you stick to them, then you will come across as the kind of person that is trustworthy and reliable, because no matter what people want from you, you deliver it in the same way. You deliver it with the same philosophy. You deliver it with the same thoughts. And so You're not explaining your philosophy anymore. You're embodying it. So what happens to you? Sorry. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Again, in business, I am an independent marketing consultant. I am a florist. I am a builder. Okay? That's what I want to do. And then do what you have to do to get it. Do you need more training? Do you need more understanding of the situation that doesn't involve, do I need to go and speak to someone who can help me with this? Do I need to go and get more equipment? How do I prove myself that I can do what I do to other people? Because you can only, again, because Stoicism is about how you can only influence yourself. And then the really important question there is, what does doing actually mean? Yes, there's a lot of planning. Yes, there's a lot of strategy. One of the big 5 steps of doing business, and the 5 steps are strategy, planning, implementation, reporting, and then re-strategizing. That delivery is a super important part. If you spend your entire time coming up with plans, great. But you're not going to make any money unless your job is to make plans. You've got to actually deliver it. Freedom is only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Again, last time, and this is a common theme that you will hear a lot from me in these live streams and in general in life, is you get to decide what success is for you. And so knowing what's going to get you that success and disregarding the rest. For example, people who turn around to you and say, you can make £1 million if you just do this. Do you want £1 million? Do you want to listen to that person? Do they have the same values as you? If they do, great. Listen to them, understand them, and then make your own choice in an objective way. But disregard them if they aren't the right thing to you. Because you don't have massive amounts of time in life to do all the things that you want to do. Why on earth would you do something you don't want to do, or that you don't believe in, or it doesn't really work for you? Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I actually don't agree with this 100%. Luck is real. It's, yes, you have to be in the right place and the right time. Yes, you have to have prepared. You have to have the right information. If you're going, if you're going to networking and you're hoping to meet the right person, it might be a little bit of luck that they're there. Did they turn up? Did they get stuck in traffic? Do they have a child that they need to look after so they can't do Wednesday afternoons? That's luck. But preparation and opportunity, you have to be there to deliver it. So there's kind of a split thing here for me, which is, yes, prepare. Yes, make sure that you've got your quantitative data, your qualitative data, everything else that you want to do. Go to the opportunity. Go networking. Go to business events. Tender for things. Sign up for the right companies. Sign up for the right organizations when it comes to that business development and marketing side. But at the same time, understand that you are only in control of that process so far, and that you can only give out information. Example of this that we've had over the last kind of 12 months is we are trying to get sorry, I'm just trying to think of a way of explaining this without breaching a non-disclosure agreement. So bear with me 1 second. So public relations is really interesting. And public relations is getting information into newspapers. So let's say we want to sell our latest product. And the way we do that is we want to turn around and say how good it is. One of the things that we can do is we can put articles in newspapers or magazines to say, hey, we've invented this amazing new product. It's great. The thing about PR is if you don't want to pay, and as soon as you start paying for PR, that becomes advertising. So PR is usually, and the way I would define it is free free content in newspapers, magazines, websites, social media, because it's worthy of being talked about. If it's not worthy of being talked about, or you really want to get in there, or you want to go somewhere, then you start paying for it, then you look into advertising. That process is, let's put together a video, let's put together an article, let's put together the press release, let's create a website, let's get some amazing pictures of photography. Let's do all of that, Okay, that's the preparation. The opportunity is we've done all of our research. We know what we need to do. We've identified our target market. We know what they like. We've asked them what they like. That's great. All of that gets put in a package, and then you send it out. And at that point, luck comes into play. Because as good as it is, there are still people who will just not put it in the magazine. There are certain people who will not report on it. And understanding that is that mixture of luck, preparation, and opportunity. And so when things don't work, understand why objectively. Not crap. It's not that it didn't work. It's not that it was terrible. You know, we completely. If you did the preparation, if you took the opportunity, it didn't work this time. It doesn't mean it's not going to work next time. It doesn't mean it's not going to work in 3 or 4, versions time. Men, in the ancient Greek literal sense, but we can say people. People are disturbed not by things, but by the view in which they take it. It's up to you whether you get offended by something. It's up to you whether you take feedback personally, or whether you take feedback in the way that it was intended, or whether you take good things from feedback, even if it's quite nasty. If you can turn around and take a positive view and a objective view of everything as it comes in, and learn from it and change things and tweak things and make your business better by saying, oh, I really wish you had pink. Rather than, you make 3 rubber ducks. You make a blue one, a white one, and a black one. Really wish you had a pink one. It really annoys me that you don't have a pink one. Rather than going, oh, terrible. Why didn't I think of the pink one? What am I going to do? Oh, well, I don't like pink. Why are they interested in pink? I don't understand it. Rather than doing that, which is disturbing, your business and the way you think, you go, okay, let's think about this objectively. What would it cost us to do a pink version? How many people could we get? Can we do some research to find out whether that's the right thing to do? Okay, let's put together a plan. I'm going to set a little bit of time aside, not with the idea that this is going to be a huge success, but just to evaluate independently, with no real emotion, whether this is the right thing for us to do. At the end of it, you'll have a report and you'll go, okay, that's great. Let's not do it, because now I have some really good ideas of why we shouldn't do it. Or, but these are great. These numbers are fantastic. We're going to increase everything by, everybody we spoke to said they'd love a pink one. Why have you never thought of this before? Rather than getting ate up by the why we haven't thought of it before, actually deliver the thing. And that's the difference between being kind of stoic and thinking objectively, and then turning around and saying, what is it that we're going to do about this particular piece of feedback? But also, we go back a few slides, we can see that actually disregarding things that lie beyond our control, that's also a really important part of that. So we can't make a pink one, or we don't. This person is right for them, but it's not right for everybody. So do that research, understand where everybody's going. Wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants. That's about setting, for me in business, that's about setting your goals accordingly. I don't want to, if you set a goal that is £1 million and you only make 250,000 and you were only ever going to make 250,000, and if you were going to do the research, you would have realized that goal is not right for you. Those great possessions of prestige and success, and what do you need £1 million for? What would you have used it if you've even got it? But actually turning around and saying, we want one thing out of this, and that is we want 100,000 subscribers, or we want 25 quid, or we want to be happy. We want to be able to stop at 3 o'clock and look after our son or daughter or friend, or I want to go for a coffee at lunch, or I want to go swimming in the morning. All of these things, okay? Define, I'm not saying what success is for you. I'm saying define success for you. And therefore you will know what you want. And if you only have a few of them, you don't need all of the other great kind of possessions of business, unless that's what you want. And if you want that, that's great and that's fine. But have a good reason for having it. I get this one all the time. I am someone who will ask the stupidest questions. I will ask a simple question. I will ask what the customer is thinking because I don't know. And I ask if I don't know because I'd rather be thought a fool by someone else, which I can't control, but know more by asking that question as a consultant or as a business owner. That's a much better outcome for me. To have learned something, to have been taught something by someone who knows more than me, to accept that I'm not the only person in the room with good ideas, that means that I get to be vulnerable and stupid, foolish, whatever you want to say. What I found in the past, and this is a really specific example, is by me being a consultant, someone who's meant to come in and know all things, for me to come into a room and say, I've looked at this, I've really tried to understand it, I don't get it. Can you please help me understand it? And I think customers don't understand this. And therefore, if we can find a better way of understanding this and communicating it to other people, we can improve the business. Because if I'm a consultant and I don't understand what you're talking about because it's too technical or it's too difficult or it's not easily explained, then I'm not 100% sure other people are going to either way. And I've never had a situation where I'm the only one who didn't understand. And even if I'm the only one who didn't understand, I still need to know. And I'm the kind of person that isn't happy until I know. But what it does as a secondary thing is other people in that room also now feel able to ask those questions too, to be vulnerable, to be open, to problem solve. And I believe as a consultant, that's the key to collaboration. It's not everybody in a room thinking they're the best and that they've all got the best ideas and fighting it out until someone wins and then we all go with them. For me, it's about being in a room that's open, that's understanding, that wants bad ideas, that wants failure, so that we can work through them and learn through that process so that everybody gets involved in that particular way of thinking, that everybody feels able, no matter what their level, from a junior apprentice all the way up to the CEO, to be able to put in their good ideas. We then evaluate those good ideas. We research those good ideas. And because we're being objective about it, because we're being open, because we're being emotionally available, because we're being foolish and stupid, we come up with better ideas. We come up with something that everybody believes in, everybody understands how we come from, and then we all move forward together with our plan. Not Bob's plan or Claire's plan or Sanjay's plan, our plan. And the reason we did that was because we were open to thinking about things and we didn't react personally when our idea wasn't the idea that eventually came together. That's what I think true collaboration is all about. So I'm happy to be thought as foolish and stupid. It gets us to a great idea. Because at the end of the day, people will remember the great idea, not the fact that I asked a particularly simple question. So, wide-ranging kind of thoughts on Stoicism and business and how having that open kind of initially passive, but also understanding the emotional side of things. That for me is my way of doing business. And when I go into businesses, when I say yes to working with businesses, and when businesses say yes to me, they're looking for that collaboration. So what are the key components that we need? We need curiosity. We need to be interested in other people's thoughts and information. We don't want them to affect us. We don't want to change our minds quickly. We don't want to get upset when someone says something we don't agree with. We want to have an open mind. We want to react to why other people are doing this. If you're running a charity and you want to help people with a particular disability, understanding their situation, understanding what is genuinely affecting them and having empathy and sympathy for them, but also understanding that you're being provided with information and you also have to provide it at the same time, and is having an open heart and being empathetic. Thing is to accept feedback. So that's a great idea, Lewis. Have you thought of it this way? That's a great way to give feedback. I don't like your idea. It's not curious. It's not empathetic. And it's difficult to accept feedback. Great. That's an amazing problem you brought me. Do you have any solution? Accept that feedback. Assess the feedback. Good feedback. Has it been delivered in the right way? Does it have a kernel of truth, even though I don't really like it? Yes. And then act on it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you providing that feedback. I'm going to have a look at that, and I might come back to you and ask you a couple of questions. Is that okay? You're getting involved. All of that is Stoicism. And all of that is the exact opposite of what people think Stoicism is. Gruff and prim and proper and unable to feel anything. No. For me, Stoicism is being open, being logical, being curious, being empathetic, and having a good feedback loop. So that's today's live stream. Thank you so much. Really appreciate for joining me, either live or after the event. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments below. I'm really happy to have a discussion about this, and I hope that what you've learned today is that you can take a step back in your business and work on the business without getting too emotional about it, or at least experiencing those emotions and putting them aside. And the reason you should do that is because great thinkers throughout history have said the exact same thing. And taking your time and taking your emotion and thinking about it is a good way. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.